When most people hear the survival of the fittest, they think of Charles Darwin or alpha males climbing to the top of the pyramid and competing with their own group to be number one and to gain access to food and mating. I think of my daughter. She's 18 and she is trying to enter to very selective universities. It is a competition of the fittest. She's a great student and a great person. Trust me and forget I am her mother. And this year she has a dilemma. In the past, when other students have asked her to share the class notes so they can all prepare for the exams well, she has done so. This year, if she shares her class notes, other students may climb to the top of the pyramid and get a spot in those universities. But if she doesn't, then she may lose peer-to-peer support and long-lasting relationships that also count very much. It is a difficult dilemma. We parents teach children to help each other, to collaborate, and then society discourages collaboration and rewards competition. Because organizations of all sizes and types, from schools to universities to companies, believe that putting people to compete against each other for a bonus or a reward is the best formula for success. They believe that if they put us to compete for something we want, each of us will strive to give our best, and the addition of all those efforts will be the best possible outcome for any organization. What a great formula, very logical, but so wrong. When you put people to compete, the worst possible behavior is notched and rewarded. Put children to compete, and they will not share the class notes. You may think that is a problem of a couple of kids, but it's not only their problem, it is the whole school problem, and later it is society problem, because they are being deprived from those kids' creativity, resilience, commitment. Put colleagues to compete for a promotion, and if I see my colleague has a flaw in the data, I look and smile and say, "Be my guest, and I crush yourself and I'll get the promotion." The worst possible behavior, that is what happened at Enron. In 2008, Enron used the formula of putting people to compete against each other. And they got the worst possible behavior, mischievous behavior among their colleagues that led to Enron collapsing, bankruptcy. Was that only Enron's problem? Remember that Enron started the global economic crisis of 2008. Competition is a formula for poorer performance and a lot of unhappiness. I was the former head of the Happiness Institute, an organization created by a well-known multinational that allowed me to travel and meet the scientists that were trying to find how a better way for us to work and live was possible. Since then, I've been called for the last 10 years to talk all over the world to organizations who want to know how each of us can be happier and perform better, and how organizations can perform much better. And a better way is possible, but it requires that we shift our mindset from more competition to more collaboration. History proves it. Imagine we are in the 19th century. Few people had a car, but some already dreamed of flying, especially two teams. On one team, we have the famous astrophysicist of the time, Samuel Langley. On another team, we have two brothers, Wilbur and Orville. Samuel Langley counts with large funding from the government, and he has selected a group of people, engineers and scientists, very intelligent. The amount of money and intelligence there is only unparalleled to Langley's own ego. It is said that when walking in public, he asked his assistants to walk behind him, so it is clear that he is number one. In Langley's world, you're either top of the pyramid, winner, or you are a loser. And literally, he's going to try to make his engine fly by using strength, by competing against gravity with strength. Let's leave them and see what the brothers do. The two brothers, Wilbur and Orville, only count with their own funding from their own bicycle family shop and their spare time to work together. So they need collaboration. They ask their sister, Katrina, to help them. Katrina is going to sew the wings of their flying machine. And every time the two brothers travel to do flying tests, and they crash quite often, she sews and repairs the wings. That is going to be a lot of collaboration. They're going to do 2,200 flying tests. That's a lot of collaboration. When they travel to Kitty Hawk's in the coast of North Carolina, Katrina is going to run the family shop. And in Kitty Hawk's, the two brothers need collaboration with the local fishermen. They bond and create friendships, and the local fishermen help the two brothers pull up Sandy Hills, the heavy prototype that weighs 300 kilos, 600 pounds. So they are using collaboration even for their invention. They believe that they will succeed if they find how to collaborate between man, machine, and air. Both teams develop their invention and they are ready. On Langley's team, on a 6th of May, 1896, they go close to the Potomac River. Langley gets a pilot on the machine, and the machine on a catapult. And like when you throw a rock over the river, off goes the pilot, trying to compete against gravity with his strength. You know what happens. The pilot goes down to the river. But remember, Langley is about winners and losers. And when you treat the others as losers, nobody's going to help you or tell you you are wrong. So the next day, Langley thinks, I just need to repeat the launch, put in more strength to win gravity. So he repeats the experiment, and the pilot goes down to the river again. But the press is there, and the press laughs at Langley. And in Langley's world, when you're not the winner, you are a loser. And he feels very, very bad about it. Unfortunately, he will die 3 years later. But coming back to our brothers, they are also ready. On a 17th December 1903, Wilbur jumps on their flying machine, takes off, controls, and lands, starting successfully the history of aviation. The success of the Wright brothers was not a fluke. It is the proof that collaboration is a better strategy than competition. History will prove it repeatedly. In fact, the reason why you are sitting here listening to a TEDx talk is because of collaboration. Let's think about our ancestors, the Homo sapiens. For 50,000 years, they lived on Earth at the same time that another species, the Neanderthals. Neanderthals perished and our ancestors survived. Why? This has been one of the biggest mysteries of nature. For a long time, we believed that it was because we were the fittest in the competition for survival. But scientists said, well, you're wrong. Neanderthals were stronger than we were. Until Professor Lieberman wrote and discovered that there was something different in the way nature designed our ancestors' brain and our brain. That nature made us prefer and nudge us for collaboration as a strategy for us to succeed. That if we feel happy when we are together with others, trying to solve a challenge, collaborating, is nature's way to not just to collaborate. If we develop language and abstract thinking, it's so we can tell others of our dream of going to Mars and convince them to collaborate with us. That's why you'll find men and women trying to go to Mars. And you will not find whales, despite having bigger brains and being stronger. Because it's not a matter of how strong or intelligent we are. It is a matter of how well we collaborate. In fact, you can predict which teams and groups are going to succeed by looking into how well they collaborate. Peter Skillman designed a test where you give to different teams 20 spaghettis, a string, some tape, and a marshmallow. And each team has 18 minutes to try to develop the tallest possible tower. This test has been done in many countries hundreds of times with very similar results. If you look at the towers built by business school students, you will find that they achieve an honorable 25 centimeters tall, 10 inches tall. Well, people as intelligent as they are, but with much more experience, outperform them. This is the group of CEOs. But hold on a second, because there's a group that outperforms CEOs, and they have not that much experience, because that group is a group of very tiny little people, kindergartners. How? Because when you look at how the CEOs spend their 18 minutes, they seem to be collaborating, but they are in a polite but ruthless competition to see who is going to emerge as the master of the spaghetti tower. And until the master emerged, nobody's going to challenge anybody's idea. And once the master emerges, everyone is going to follow that single idea. On the opposite, kindergartners, they are joyfully all together building one's designs and then the other and learning how iteration by iteration very quickly, low ego and a lot of commitment and help and collaboration there. So you can predict which team will win by looking at how well they collaborate. So history and nature and success tests tell us that collaboration is a better strategy. What do you think my daughter should do? She can hold back to her class notes and try to be better than the other in that single test, single year. Or she can help others be their best and create successful trajectories for everybody. We don't know what she will do, but even more important than what she will do is what each of you will do when you are in that dilemma. When you are in a position that someone asks you for your class notes, or a colleague asks you for your help, or you are in a position to create an organization or a team when you reward competition or you reward collaboration. And when the time comes, I would like you to think about the biggest problems that the world has today. Global climate change or health, or prosperity for organizations and for people around the world, and even peace, those problems cannot be solved with more competition, but can be solved with more collaboration, unleashing the genius that we all have when we collaborate. Our creativity, our energy, our support to each other. So when the time comes, remember what the Wright brothers taught us and history taught us, what nature gave us as a strategy for success, that being wired for collaboration. And think about how you can predict if a team will win by how well they collaborate, and then choose collaboration. And by doing so, you'll be helping to lift others, and you'll be helping yourself to lift to the top, and you'll be creating a world with not only the fittest win and we all lose, but a world where we all will thrive. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.